What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video I'd like to talk about Dash and Zcash. We're going to do a little 2-for-1 video. We haven't done that in a second. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. We'll talk about Zcash first. It's the higher market cap coin, so we'll give it that respect, and we'll finish up the video talking about Dash. Okay, so here we are. It's the 11th day of April. Here we are with about 8 hours and 30 minutes left in the day, sitting here at $372. Consolidating. Where we're consolidating, let's just see, from a high back in November of 2025 to the low here in February of this year, we're consolidating just above the 0.5. In my opinion, that would imply then that this move overall likely doesn't end until we hit the golden ratio. It's actually pretty common whenever you go from here to bouncing off your 0.69 that you do just move right up to that golden ratio. So it is possible that we just make a move straight up there right now, and that would be 435 to 481, somewhere up here. But that would be the extent of this move that I expect. I don't think that we get any higher than that. I think that this is a bull trap. In my opinion, I really do believe that this is a bull trap and that we will inevitably plummet back below these lows and even below $100, or at least somewhere around $100 at some point. Time will tell. Certainly at least back below $200, and there's reasons for that. We'll go over that in this video, but I do believe that here we will move up to the golden ratio, stop there. That'll likely be the end of this move. It is possible that we stop here. It's just less common to stop in between these zones. It's more common to either stop at this line with partial wicks up. This is a little bit more than partial. And it's more common to stop in the golden ratio zone than it is to stop right here. Let's look at the short-term stuff. Let's get into it, and then we'll zoom back out. Okay, first and foremost, this is on the Coinbase chart. If anybody's been watching my analysis over I don't know how many months now, and I've actually been paying attention to this, what I'm about to share with you guys, for years now, but I've really been heavily drilling it home, and we've really been applying it to our analysis anytime we use the Coinbase chart. Is the 1-hour Coinbase chart. We look for gaps, and these gaps do fill. They always fill, man. Whether they're to the downside or to the upside, they always fill. And it's a bit superstitious. It's not really true analysis. This isn't real analysis. So take it with a grain of salt. If you let's say, for example, here, if you saw this gap all the way down here, right there, this gap at about $215, and you're like, I'm going to go short. There's a gap here. I know something you don't know. Well, you got wrecked, and you missed out on a really, really, really positive trade. But I do believe that inevitably we will fill this gap. Where'd it go? Oh, did I go too far back? Yeah, inevitably we will fill this gap. We go further back in time. Let's just go further back here, and you'll find that there actually is another gap right here. There's a little gap right there. The 1 hour closed here, and then there's 1 hour open. I know it sounds silly, but if you've been watching the channel, how many times have we made assumptions based off of these silly little things, and it worked out flawlessly? And it actually prevented us from making an investment and FOMOing in at the worst possible times, or buying in at really good times, right? Just because you have a gap that's left above doesn't mean that you have to fill it immediately. Just because there's gaps below, I mean, those gaps are at $200 and even below $200. You don't have to fill those immediately either. But I do think inevitably. What I don't believe is going to happen is that Zcash from here is breaking out of this range, and it's sending its price all the way up above $1,000 and beyond, and that we're going to sing Kumbaya and celebrate fireworks as we get another higher high before filling these gaps. What I don't believe is that that's going to happen. I also don't believe that we're going to do this and then come all the way back down and fill those gaps. I don't believe it's going to happen. So the only thing that makes sense to me is that this is a bull trap. We're going to move down. We're going to fill those gaps, and if we move down to fill those gaps, we likely will go lower below this low. Okay. We are on a weekly basis. If we look here, jumping around from the 1 hour to the weekly, we're finding resistance right now this week at prior points of resistance. And now that we've got the 1 hour gaps out of the way, I don't really need, I guess we can use volume. Also, real quick, on the weekly basis, we can use this. Finding resistance here, look at how much of a positive move this is. You're up 52% this week. You're up 52% this week. Look at the volume. You had more volume here this week when you moved up 28%. You're at the same price levels. Same exact price levels. Whenever you moved up here, 57%, over here, 57. It's like we're at 52% this week. Look at the volume you had here versus the volume you have here. It should be concerning, and I think it is concerning. And if we're paying attention to the longs versus shorts On a daily basis, it's the weekend. Okay, it's 50-50. That's fair. It's been kind of neutral over the past few days, so that's fair. But we go over the past 30 days where this price action really started, which was, back here in, the beginning of March, about a month ago. Past 30 days, there's no shorts, man. It's just longs. It's long dominant. We go out even further than 30 days. We go out the last 90 days. It's just longs, man. There's some shorts, $60 million, $50 million worth of shorts, but man, there's $167 million in longs over the last 90 days. 167 in longs, and over the last 30 days, there's $88 million worth of longs cumulatively. Okay, half of what's been accumulated in the long position has actually happened over the last 30 days. Over the last 3 months, over the last quarter of the year, half of that has been over the last month itself. And what happened over the last month? Well, this last 2 weeks especially, we started pumping. Do we have a 2 week? We don't. We just have a 7 day. Same thing here, though. Not a whole lot of shorts, a lot of longs. And maybe we push higher. Here, there's some shorts to get cleared out around that $400 level. I wouldn't be surprised if we did push higher. The golden ratio and everything's up there. We'll decimate the shorts even more, and we will pile on more longs. But this is the kind of stuff that concerns me. It absolutely is. Let alone my superstition with the 1 hour wicks. But or the 1 hour gaps. I'm sorry. But let's get back into this. We look at the 1 hour time frame here. Volume looks good. Volume looks good, relatively speaking. On a weekly basis, it's not good. But relatively speaking here, it looks good. It's continuous. We kind of have this nice little stair-stepping formation. This is actually really beneficial stuff. And typically looking at this, I actually would be bullish. But there's something that makes me bearish, and I'll show you what it is. It's not the gaps. I wouldn't even say that this is bearish divergence, but we look at the RSI here, and you do have more dropping to go. If we can see that the RSI comes down to the oversold zone and it's a slow process and we're still moving sideways, you see how the RSI is cooling off here, but the prices are moving down. If that keeps happening and we're reset, we're at the oversold zone, we're reset, and all we've done is move sideways, okay, I'll be bullish then. But this could imply that we are about to break out to the downside. The stochastics have a bit of a bearish impression. The MACD might be a good argument against the bearish side because you've been red for so long. It's not that you could be red for 5 times as long, but typically you don't see red last this long. Typically you do get a flash of green, and any flash of green that we've had has typically, at least over the past couple weeks, boded very well for the price action. So I mean, in this kind of neutral zone, any hint of bullishness could cascade the price higher, absolutely. But the reason why I'm bearish here, or at least hesitant here to be bullish, at least at this moment, I could see us coming down and then coming back up and finish that move. I really could see us dropping back down to like 335 before moving above $400. I fully do expect we will move to $400 before this move is over entirely. The reason why I'm bearish here is that you have bearish divergence right here. We have these lower highs in the 4 hour RSI. You've got this uptrend, these higher lows, higher highs, and typically trends like this do end with bearish divergence in the overbought area. So this to me makes me think sorry guys. I should mute my mic. That we will go down here. That we will go down to 333, maybe even below there. Might find support right there. Might go down to like 310, and then we move up. Then we start our final onslaught to $400. If not, we might move up, and instead of getting deeper into the 400s, we might just get a shallow $400 read where we provide more bearish divergence. We get another drive of bearish divergence here. But I highly doubt that we continue to pump without realizing this bearish divergence to some degree. I mean, I highly doubt that we pump at a significant rate. We could pump a little bit and further this bearish divergence. That I could see. But I would rather see us come down. That way we have more oomph, more momentum to move up. Now, this is all typical. This is all just typical stuff. Statistically, what you normally see. That doesn't mean it has to happen. Anything can happen. We actually saw that with Bitcoin. We look at this on a 4 hour period here with Bitcoin. This very rare occurrence where you did have double bearish divergence. You formed another leg here. You had high, higher high, and a higher high with a high, lower high, lower high. That was double bearish divergence. And what you didn't do was come back down to this area. You kept building. And actually now you have a higher high in your RSI with a higher high in your price. You got rid of the bearish divergence, which I can't tell you how incredibly rare that is. Can it happen here? Can this rare instance happen here with Zcash? Sure. Sure it can. It's just not typical. And if you're playing this game of technical analysis, it's not a crystal ball. You don't see the future. You're predicting it using statistically backed data points. And this statistically backed data point would suggest that we at least have a date with destiny down at $333. Pair that in with some short to long ratio things, it's really not that hard of a conclusion to draw. But bouncing off the overbought zone is positive. You still have a positive structure overall. You're just right on the brink of breaking that positive structure. Stochastics look bearish here coming out of the overbought zone like this, right? You do. Why isn't it doing it? You look bearish right here. And the MACD also has bearish divergence, and you've just crossed red. There are some bearish things going on. But again, that doesn't mean that you can't still defy the odds. It's just odds. It's not a prophecy. You didn't find it on a stone tablet written in a cave somewhere in the desert. It's not a prophecy. It's just an idea. You look at the daily time frame here. The daily RSI is overbought. It's the most overbought that we've seen it since November of 2025. Does that reminisce anything? Does that bring any thoughts to mind? That was the last time that we saw high prices like this, right? We had a lot more volume at the top too. Volume is building. It's looking good relatively speaking, but again, just on a weekly perspective, something doesn't add up to me, man. MACD is crossing. It looks good. These are the highest that the oscillators have been. This is the highest that the histogram has been since like December, since these high times as well. And we still do have a lower high overall. Stochastics are reset. The last time we were overbought here was a high point. Time before that was a high point. Time before that was a local high point as well. Time before that, it was a local high point, but we continue to climb. You know, I think that we are near our high, but again, just taking this context into consideration, the high to the low here, we're not quite at the golden ratio there. There's probably a lot of people who are wanting to go short, who are hesitant about this, who just bought the top, who if the price moves down a little bit, they're going to panic sell, and then we move up, and then they'll panic buy. They'll just be liquidity, not just for this top, but for the next top as well. It's actually very common from here to go to the 0.3 and then work your way up to the golden ratio. We could just make that push now, but again, I think if we make that push now, we're not really going to get past $400 too much. We might just miss the golden ratio. So I think it'd be better to see a little bit of volatility beforehand. And I do think that we're going to see that. You get that volatility, you can bounce off of 382 or just above the 382. You can bounce off of prior resistance, prior support back here, prior resistance back here. Get that little springboard action up to the golden ratio zone where I believe you will rest this uptrend and begin the final slow descent into madness before breaking down. And what I don't expect that we go here and that we plummet. That's not what I expect is going to happen. I think it's going to tease people. I think Zcash will have a distributive kind of phase up here. It's going to tease people. And then over time, maybe sometime in June or July, that'll be when things pick up to the downside. And how I'm drawing it here, I don't even necessarily expect it does that. I wouldn't be surprised if we find support here, we come back up. You know, there's going to be hope, there's going to be reason. But then instead of breaking through resistance, we find resistance at prior support, at prior resistance, at prior support, all this stuff. And inevitably, we slowly grind down until we're ready to break through. Sometime in Q3 or Q4, I would assume that we do break through this level and that we do make our final descent back down probably around, if not below, $100. We take this low here, the low before the grand pump that we had in late 2025 there. And I mean, hell, if I can delete all the noise here, let's actually do that. Let's delete all this noise here as well. The 382, we haven't interacted with the 382 yet. It's actually very uncommon to do what we've done here and not interact with the 382. I think we have a day with destiny there. But I also believe that if we've done this kind of behavior and we come back below the 382, statistically speaking, we are very likely to go to this golden ratio as well, which makes sense. Tip that golden ratio. Find support right at prior resistance. Go into the heart of this zone. Find support at this prior resistance, whatever the case may be. That's not the only point of resistance there. There's resistance there. There's some support there. Maybe we don't hit the golden ratio. Maybe you do find support just below $100 or even right at $100 at the 0.5, at $108 here. There's reason enough to find support there. But I do believe we will see prices below this low. I don't believe that what we're doing right here is breaking out of this range, and I feel like I'm validated in that thought because of the lack of volume, the complete lack of volume on the weekly basis. This is not a breakout behavior. This was a very similar candle here, 57%. We're at 52.5% here. The volume is miles apart. It's completely different. It's not the same. This was breakout volume, guys. This is not. It's as simple as that. Right? We're moving here. We're not really breaking out. When did we start breaking out here? We got some increase in volume. Okay, that's nice. We're not really even we're not increasing in volume at all. We're not. We're actually at lower. We're below average right now. We still have a day and 9 hours left, but I think I've made my point. I digress. I'm fully expecting this to be a bull trap. Laugh at me, mock me now. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that everybody investing in Zcash, you make a ton of money. I look like a fool in like a month or two from now. I hope that's what happens, because there'd be more people having fun and making money that way than the way that I'm talking about. But I'm not making this video to be made fun of. Time will tell. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.